In Brooksville, Florida, years ago, I met a man who happens to do work with satellites. He was working on a Russian satellite doing micro welding. This man was not a Christian. A friend set up a meeting with us for me to discuss with him technology. He said, do you know in the space shuttle right now they have a chip? And they're testing it in the space shuttle. I said, what is it? He said, it's a chip that years from now will go into your right hand or your forehead. I said, you're kidding me. I acted dumb. He said, no, and it's going to have all your information on it. You won't need a bank card. You won't need a Social Security card. You won't need money. You'll just scan your hand. I said, are you serious? He said, yeah. And by the way, the guy had a computer in his office and could talk to the space shuttle and did it while I was there. No joke. This is a big-time scientist. And so I didn't think much about it until I received a phone call in 2009 in the month of May. And the gentleman said, I've got to tell you this, Perry, this just happened to me. This freaked me out. I just flew on a plane with a man who is on the board of the American Medical Association. Do you know what he told me? He said, we got in a conversation. The man's not a Christian. He said that the Obama administration was going to force health care in because they have a chip that's going to be put in the right hand or the forehead of everybody taking the healthcare system. And I said, wait a minute, are you telling me? He said, no, I'm telling you, the guy gave me the whole information. He was on his way to Florida to meet with 3,000 doctors to tell them how this is going to operate under the new health code. So I began to do some research, and I found out, now you hear me, from one senator in a southern state who heard me say that, came up to me and he said, in our state, he said, I am now trying to block the health care chip. I said, so it's real? He said, it's absolutely real. Then I found out when I started researching that there's a senator in Pennsylvania and one in Virginia who have already made statements to the Washington Post that they are going to do their best to try to block a chip implant in the head or in the hand. One that's not even a Christian says, this sounds like this apocalyptic stuff that Christians believe, and it spooks me. And so there's 3 senators. Now, when Joe Biden was a senator, he was the Supreme Court nominee. Remember Judge Roberts? Remember him? He met, this is actually, you probably can find this on YouTube if you look it up, but he looked at him and he asked him the question, if when the day comes that a device will have to be inserted in the physical body of individuals, how will you rule? Because when you are a Supreme Court judge, you'll have to make that decision. Now, this is not something that's just been planned by President Obama. This has been worked on for about 15 years, and I want you to understand that. So what we found out from the source of the man who was on the plane, he says that what they're going to do is that they're going to go, you'll go to the hospital, you can do it in 8 seconds, and they'll put a chip in your right hand or right below the hairline because it operates off of a lithium battery. All of your healthcare information will be on it, and they're going to sell it to the American public by saying, we will save hundreds of billions of dollars eventually in paperwork. If you're in an emergency, they'll just scan you and you'll be ready to go to the hospital. All of those big lines with 40 million people added in, we can reduce the time down. And if you don't believe it's real, India, the nation of India, says that beginning in 2012, they're going to start marking all of their population with a number. This has already been reported. By 2017, everyone will have the number. When I began to research about the healthcare chip, I found out it is absolutely real. They're trying to hide it from the people because they know the Christians won't receive it. But when I found out and I started researching this in more detail, here's what got real interesting to me. When I found out that the administration told the unions they wouldn't have to worry about the health care, all this and that and the other, till 2017, I found out 2017 is the deadline to put the chip in every American that exists on in the United States of America. And here's the catch. The man in Georgia, there's a man in Georgia that worked at a hospital that came to me and came to one of my staff members who's related to the staff member and said, this is weird. I didn't realize this. Perry's preaching this. We had a meeting in the hospital in Marietta just recently, and the health company came to us that's going to help do this chip, and it's going to cost $10 a month to have the chip, which means it's going to cost $120 a year. Multiply that times 300 million people, and that's how the money is going to be made on the health care, and everybody's going to be happy. Now, here's the thing I got to tell you, and I'm going to be as blunt as I can be, and if I offend you, I am sorry, but you better get the offense off of your shoulder and start listening to the truth. But you better get the offense off of your shoulder and start listening to the truth. But you better get the offense off of your shoulder and start listening to the truth. But you better get the offense off of your shoulder and start listening to the truth. But you better get the offense off of your shoulder and start listening to the truth. But you better get the offense off of your shoulder and start listening to the truth.